Okay, so I want to tell a little story about this thing that happened one time when I was driving a taxi for Orange and White in Huntington. Okay, so this one night, I'm driving on a night line, normal night, and then all of a sudden, my dispatcher, Buster, gets on the radio and tells me to come pick these guys up at the rail. These four guys. I said, okay, whatever. So I drive back to the rail, and before I pick him up, he tells me I'm taking him out to Riverhead. And I'm thinking, Riverhead? Wow, that's a trip. I said, hell yeah. I mean, that was what, like $85, $90 trip? Maybe plus tip? Said, no problem. So I get to the rail, I put them in my car, and we start driving out there. And immediately I start getting this feeling like, like the hair stands up on the back of your neck, but you never really know why, it just does. And these guys aren't speaking at all, right? And they look kind of like weird and creepy and not very friendly at all. None of them did. They just did not look like they wanted to talk. And even weirder, they weren't even talking to each other. Like they're all going to the same destination, but they're just sitting there in silence. Obviously, they know each other. They're in a group, but they're not talking. Like, who are these guys? And where the fuck am I taking them? All Buster told me was Riverhead. And I didn't ask for any specifics because I figured these guys will just give me directions when I get out there. So we drive all the way out to Riverhead. Takes me like, I don't know, 35, 40 minutes. And I get off of the LIE on the last exit, and they start giving me directions. Where in Riverhead I'm going. And then finally they go, oh, right here, make a right. I'm like, what? Make a right? Why are we going in here? This is Suffolk County Jail. It's weird. Why am I driving these four guys to a jail at like midnight? Okay. Well, I'm like, whatever, I'm making money. I'm not going to complain. Take all kinds of people, all kinds of places. I don't really ask questions. So I end up going like inside the jail, right? And I drop these guys off. They get out of the car. And I head on back to Huntington. And the whole time back, I'm like trying to figure out, what the fuck was that? Again, why did I just drive these guys to a jail? What? So finally I get back to Huntington and Buster calls me inside the office. He goes, 6-4, I didn't want to tell you this on the way out for obvious reasons. But you know who those guys were, right? No. Who? 6-4. They're sex offenders. You know the sex offenders that have literally nowhere to live? So they live in Suffolk County Jail in like trailer park on the jail property? Yeah, I know about that shit. That was those guys? Are you fucking serious? What now? It makes sense. Now I understand why they were so like weird and creepy looking and didn't speak a word the whole time and looked so miserable. I mean, I guess being a convicted sex offender is bad enough. But when you have literally nowhere to live and you have to basically still be in jail, like you're not in jail, but you're still locked up at the same time, yeah, that's gotta suck. I wouldn't fucking smile either. Right. But yeah, that's the type of shit you see driving a taxi, like always. But yeah, that was my little story about the guys I took out to Riverhead one night from Huntington. I couldn't figure out why the fuck I was dropping them off at jail. And then I was finally told they were convicted sex offenders that were living there. What a ride. What a fucking ride.